If you don't know the definition of any of those or the differences between them, then I'm not going to talk to you about it. I mean, who would have saw this coming? Polls show gun control support trending down. Media coverage mass shootings don't appear to drive up support for gun control. This is from the Washington Free Beacon. I totally agree with that. Just because you define the mass shootings as, what, 2 or more people in a given area, then, I don't know, then there's a lot of mass shootings. There's a lot of mass shootings across the world, especially in Chicago. Okay, by Stephen Gutowski. 2 new polls show support for most gun control proposals has receded or remained constant despite a spate of mass shootings. Polls from Quinnipiac University and ABC Washington Post partnership asked about the gun control debate in America and specific gun control proposals. Both polls showed a general downward trend in support for new gun control measures, even in the immediate aftermath of mass shootings in Texas and Ohio. Neither poll found heightened enthusiasm for any gun control proposal which had been polled more than twice. Instead, they found support for gun control policies either relatively stable or declining, though still substantial. See how how they word that? It goes in. They found support for gun control policies either relatively stable or declining, though still substantial. Okay, are you talking about the substantial downtrend? Or that staying the same? Because are you saying, well, it's going down, but it still could go higher? Or, I don't know. Move right along. September 5th, ABC Washington Post poll found support for a nationwide ban on the sale of unidentified or undefined assault weapons fell 6 points from last April. It now sits at 56% support, up 9% from its low in 2015, but a full 24 points down from its high in 94 when the federal assault weapons ban went into effect. This Quinnipiac poll, August 29th, has similar results on identically worded question, with support dropping 3 points to 60% since May 22nd, 2019, and down 7 points from its highest level on February 20th, 2018. The retreat from high water marks following the February 2018 Parkland shooting was evident in nearly all the questions. Quinnipiac poll found that general support for stricter gun laws fell 6 points to 60% since last February. It also found the 3-point drop in the percentage of people who say Congress needs to do more to reduce gun violence, from 75% last February to 72% this September, but a 4-point drop in support for universal background checks over that time. Again, what is a universal background check? I know what they're talking about. It's just a question. How are they going to define it? And how are you going to enforce it? How are you going to, let's say I have a whole bunch of weapons. I'm going to sell it to a buddy down the street. How are you going to stop me from doing that? If you keep it quiet, how are you going to stop me from doing it? The big answer is you're not. Despite this slight downward trend, expanding background checks still enjoys a 93% support in latest poll. Okay, how are you going to expand the background checks? You're not answering the question. Of course. That support has remained relatively consistent with the Quinnipiac, the Q poll, I'm going to call it. I hate saying it. Finding the same level of support in June 2016 as in 2019 August. And the ABC Washington Post poll finding the same level of support in 1999 as in September 2019. However, while expanding background checks to cover interstate used gun sales between private individuals has enjoyed consistently high support in polling, it has been far less popular when proposed as ballot initiatives. Again, if you got 2 really good friends and a guy wants, say, a Glock 19, how are you going to, and they're just going to sell it between each other, how in the hell are you going to enforce them to go to a FFL and go through the background check? You're not. This is ridiculous. Both Nevada and Maine voted on universal background check initiatives in 2016. While Q polls put support for the policy at 93% in June of 2016, neither initiative came anywhere close to that level of support. Nevada's initiative passed with only 50.45% of support, a victory of 0.9%. Maine's universal background check initiative failed with 51.8% voting against. Nevada's initiative, which required the FBI to conduct background checks on private sales, has never been implemented. There you go. The state attorney general determined that there was no way for Nevada to force the federal agency to conduct the checks. Instead, Nevada Democrats passed a similar bill along party lines this year that implemented universal background checks without using the problematic language. See, that's how they do it. They just change the language so you can kind of dip around it. The results came despite gun control proponents massively outspending gun rights proponents in both states. Gun control groups involved in races spent a total of $25 million, while gun rights groups spent $7 million, a threefold advantage for gun control groups. The ABC Washington Post poll also asked respondents if they favored, quote, a nationwide ban on high-capacity ammunition clips. Oh my God, there is no such thing as high-capacity ammunition clips, you idiots. Here we go. Mistaking clips for magazines and define high capacity as anything capable of holding more than 10 bullets. Jesus Christ. Despite the fact that most modern handguns and rifles come standard with magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition, the poll found support for a ban increased by 4 points since April 2013 to 60%, but also fell 5 points from its highest level in 2013. The same poll shows gun ownership levels have remained consistent over the past 2 decades. It found 46% of American adults report having a gun in the home. That's a 1 point drop from last year's all-time high, exactly the same percentage poll found when it first asked the question in May of 1999. Okay. Bottom line, for you gun-grabbing far leftist liberal douchebags, get the goddamn terminology correct before I take you seriously. If you can't even do that, if you can't even do the due diligence of researching the proper terminology, then shut the ever-loving F up. I want to hear nothing about gun grabbing until you understand what it is to like to own a gun or rifle, etc. If you don't, then shut the hell up. Your opinion means nothing because you don't know anything about it. I'm not going to ask you about soy or vegetarianism or whatever bullcrap thing you're into. Whatever, that's on you, okay? But I know the terminology. I know what a gun is. I've fired them before because I was in the military. If you don't know the difference between a high ammunition magazine clip, ghost clip, or a magazine, or a clip, if you will, if you don't know the definition of any of those or the differences between them, then I'm not going to talk to you about it. Your opinion is moot. It doesn't register with me. Until then, learn the terminology, learn the facts about gun ownership, how hard it is to get a gun. I'm not saying I bought one or not, but let's just say I do know the process. It's difficult. It's more difficult is filling out paperwork, etc. The point is that you guys need to get your shit together if you really want to have this conversation that you're always talking about. Laszlo out.